Hello everybody, it's Michael from Replica Airguns with another tabletop video review. Today we're looking at the Umarex Beretta model M9A3 full auto CO2 blowback BB pistol. And again, this is the tabletop video, so there will be a shooting video shortly to follow this one. But if you're interested in what the performance will be like or similar performance, check out my Beretta Model 92A1 field test shooting video. Internally, these guns are very similar. They're both semi-full auto. Some of the components may even be interchangeable. I know the magazines are. The slides are a little bit different, but they should perform similarly. All right, this gun is a replica of the real steel Beretta M9A3. You can find this Beretta M9A3 in our Canada and US online Replica Airgun stores over at replicaairguns.ca and replicaairguns.us. I'll put links in the description for you. And it is a replica of the real steel Beretta M9A3. Very close replica indeed. This gun's made in Taiwan. It does come in a nice box with the manual and the Allen key. So you can see here, we have the hard box, the hard case box, or not hard case, but hard cardboard box, right? As opposed to those plastic wrap boxes that look kind of cheap, I think. But you can see there's some specifications on here, right? We'll get into that in a second here. But it's, you know, got your usual BB gun specifications, CO2 and stuff like that. Steel BBs, 4.5 millimeter. Got weight, different things on here. You can, if you want, you can freeze the frame here and take a look. You can see you got your full and semi-auto selector there, right? Decent looking box. Of course, you're going to get your Allen key, so you can tighten the CO2 screw on the bottom, right there. This guy right here, and you get the manual. And typically speaking, Umarex puts out some pretty nice manuals, right? Specifications on the front, a few of them. Lots of information on how to use this gun. By the way, this gun does have hop up, and when I take it apart, I'll show you what I'm talking about. It does have a little dial there for adjusting hop up. I'm not sure if they show it in here, but there's your safety, how to load ammunition, right? Selector switch, sighting it in options. It doesn't really say much about the hop up in here, but it does have it, interestingly enough. Again, I'll show you that when I get inside the gun and field strip it a bit for you. All right, let's get into some of the specifications. This is a semi-auto and full auto selectable gun, and I'll show you that when I do the walk around. I'll show you the switch there, how you can do that. It does have strong full blowback action, so it's full cycle blowback action, and the slide does lock back after the last shot. This gun is made out of metal, so it's got a metal slide, metal magazine, but it does have the polymer frame. So unlike the Model 92A1, which I will put side by side here in a bit, the M9A3 does have the polymer frame, so it does come in a little bit lighter. And I say lighter, but it's still almost 2 pounds, so it does have good weight, and it does come in at that 1.9 pound or 861 grams. It does use 12 gram CO2 cartridges, standard ones, shoots 4.5 millimeter steel BBs, and you can put 18 of them in the full size dropout metal magazine. It's got a smooth bore, 4.5 inch barrel, and it shoots in both single and double action. So what I mean by that is you can pull the trigger back, right, or cock the hammer. So that would be single action, double action, okay? It does have a claimed FPS of around 330 FPS. Should get pretty close to that on a warm day. And it does have a threaded muzzle tip here for a mock suppressor if you want to add that in. I'll show you that in a bit again. Before I get into the full walk around, I did want to again compare it to the Model 92A1. And you can see they're very similar guns. Obviously we have, I guess, a little bit more tactical version here. You got the mock suppressor options, a little bit different grip style, right? I'd say it's just a little bit, easier to hold. Even the sights, they're similar, but the sights are, you got these really standout white dot sights on the 93A1 or M9A3, sorry, getting them confused a bit here. And you'll notice it's even the front sight has a little bit more of a pronounced white dot, so just a little easier to see. You are going to find basically the same safety selector on the slide on left and right side. And you're going to have the slide catch release just on the left side, and the magazine release is on the left side as well. So that's not ambidextrous, but nice gun. I wouldn't say it's tactical, but it's designed to be a modern gun, used in modern military, police, that kind of thing. All right, let's pull this off to the side. Let's do the walk around of the gun, then I'll field strip it for you guys. All right, so here you can see we have the Beretta USA Corporation on the slide, PB, Beretta markings. And then you have your caliber there, serial number. Okay, that's for the steel BB, caliber F for the European market. There's your takedown lever, okay, We'll get into that later when I actually pull it apart. And then you have this removable tip. Now, it's like there's two threads going on here. So this is the one thread that you gotta kind of take off first. And then you can actually, if you want, you can even take this tip off. So you could shorten this right down and kind of go with your standard Beretta look, right? If you don't want that extension going on, you could do that. Or you could put this on and, you know, potentially put a mock suppressor on there a number of different ways. Now this part's a little fun to get on there. There we go. We'll put that all back together. Now you don't need to take the tip off to field strip it, which is good news. Okay, or even take the barrel out for that matter. Let's take another look here, closer looking tight. So you got your ambidextrous safety, right? Okay, safety or magazine release here. And it's a color matched magazine, right? So your BBs, pull this down if you have a fingernail to do so. I don't have a fingernail presently, but you can see you can load your BBs in the bottom there, through that hole, makes it a little bit easier. And then you have your CO2 that goes in here. So just back that out with the Allen key, the included Allen key, and pop some CO2 in there. And there's your CO2 valve, okay? We're gonna keep that out for now because I will be field stripping it. You can see here, this is the only thing that's a little different. On the real steel version, you do have the flared mag well all the way around, whereas it's sort of just in this one area here. Not really sure why. I think that's just to allow for the CO2. See if you can see that. There's a little bump in the magazine. See the bump there? So that's probably why that needs to be flared there. But on the real steel version, the whole magazine well is flared. So a little bit different. But everything else is really similar. I'm going to be putting a link to the real steel gun somewhere either in the written post or maybe even the description for this video. But check out the written post because that information will be there too. Okay, there's your white dot sights. Just hit my camera. Okay, you can see they're nice big white dot sights, front and back. And by the way, this tip, the front sight can be removed. There's probably a little mini Allen key that goes in there to remove it. Just like the real steel version, you can remove it. Okay. This is your selector switch here for full auto, semi-auto. So it's pretty discreet. That wouldn't be on the real steel version. You got your ambidextrous safety. You got your typical Umarex white ugly warning instructions on the slide that they seem to all have, unfortunately. Some more information here about Beretta, licensing for Beretta. Beretta's logo, of course, on the grips. You can see here, nice, you know, grippy handle. Right, you're not gonna have that slip out of your hand. And you got the rail, right, and of course the recessed barrel. Slide is very heavy. Almost need to pre-caulk it a little bit to get that slide to go back. So the slide is pretty heavy, right? Nice, gonna have nice blowback action for sure. All right, let's field strip this gun. So you just push that in on the one side. You can pop that forward and there you are. It's that simple, right? Now I want to show you this. It's gonna be tight here. There you go. See the little wheel there on both sides? That's for hot pup, yeah. I'm not gonna take this out because this spring is really tight and it's long. So when you pull it out, you gotta kind of try and magically thread it all back in. It's a little bit tough, but I have done it and the barrel does come out pretty easy. You don't even need to take off the tip or anything. You can take it right out and it makes it a little easier to adjust the hop up, obviously with the barrel out, right? So just keep that in mind. But that's all she wrote. That's, you know, with the magazine out and the slide off, this portion being mostly polymer with some metal parts in it. You know, there are some metal parts in it, but they're mostly polymer, this whole portion. It's very lightweight. Okay, let's put this back together. All right, it's a little tough to get in there sometimes. You almost gotta do some weird voodoo magic to get that slide back on, but sometimes the guide rod just kind of wants to pop out and it makes it a little bit difficult. You just gotta do a little wiggling around until she finally goes in. So that's what I had to do. It took a little bit, but I noticed that with the model 92A1 as well, it seemed to be like that too. It's a little bit tricky getting it back on. But you know, if you just work at it, it'll go back on, no problem. All right, let's pop that back in. Let's go over some of the pros and the cons. Now, I haven't shot the gun, so I can't really comment exactly on the performance, but take a look at the Umarex Beretta Model 92A1 field test video that I did. I'm expecting this gun to perform very similarly. So just to give you a little bit, before I totally get into the pros and the cons, because this is kind of part of it. But you can expect around 320 FPS and cooler temperatures. At least that's what I got before with the 92A1. So maybe 330 to 340 on a warmer day. You're going to get about 3 to 4 usable magazines in semi-auto. In full auto, you may or may not get 2 magazines, a good 1 magazine and then maybe another one, who knows, right? Full auto is going to use up a lot of CO2. I was able to get close to a 2-inch grouping with the Model 92A1, that's at 30 feet, shooting in semi-auto mode. And the trigger again is single action and double action, so it does shoot really nicely in single action mode when you're target shooting. It just shoots really nice. It's a really nice feeling trigger overall. All right, let's get into the actual pros and cons. Now you get your choice of shooting. You can shoot in semi-auto or full auto. Full auto is a lot of fun, but you're going to find it's kind of like, I wouldn't say it's gimmicky because it's pretty cool, but you're not going to get too many rounds on target. The gun does jostle around a lot. It moves around that blowback action. So if you're trying to shoot a small target, you might get it with a few rounds, but you're going to waste most of the rounds just shooting them wildly. But it is fun. Overall, I prefer shooting in semi-auto because it's for sure a lot more accurate. You're going to get your target or hit your target more often for sure. I took a look at the real steel version online, and these guns look really, really close. So coloring, everything, just the whole branding, Umarex licensing, other than that magwell issue that I mentioned, the guns look really, really close. So it is a great replica overall. It does have good weight and feel. Coming in at just under 2 pounds, it's not too heavy, a little bit lighter than the full metal version. So if you feel the Berettas are a little heavy for you, well then give this one a try. It might just fit that weight limit that you're looking for. Overall, it's a super high quality gun. Just because it has a polymer frame doesn't bring down the quality. Polymer, in my mind, for gun frames is perfectly legitimate substance to use. A lot of modern guns are using polymer frames, so there's nothing wrong with that. It just keeps the weight down. Put your metal where it matters in my books. You're going to find a heavy slide spring in the M9A3, and that's going to relate to a nice blowback action. You're going to have a nice heavy blowback feel because it takes quite a bit of effort to get that spring to move back and forth. You're really going to feel the weight of the slide as it snaps back and forth. And as you'd probably expect, you're going to find a realistic working slide catch release, realistic working safety, realistic working magazine release. So all of those things contribute to the realism of this gun for sure. And another thing we expect in our blowback guns is a full-size dropout metal magazine that holds the CO2 and the BBs. You're going to get that with the M9A3 as well. And as I showed you earlier in the video, you can fully field strip the Beretta M9A3, just like the real steel version. And it is Beretta licensed through Umarex, as you've seen. I'm not into mock suppressors, but if you are, you can take that tip off and thread a mock suppressor on there for looks. It's not going to really do anything for sound since it's an air gun, right? Pretty quiet to begin with. But hey, if you like the look, you can do that. And overall, I just think this is a fantastic looking gun. Umarex did a great job of replicating it. All right, a few cons. You are going to eat up a lot of CO2, especially in full auto mode, but even in semi-auto mode, these full blowback guns do use a lot more CO2 than non-blowback guns, especially the full blowback, so the full heavy slide, not this sort of partial blowback. Those guns are a little more efficient. This gun's going to eat CO2. That's all there is to it. And as you're going to find with most CO2 BB guns, the sights are non-adjustable. So if it's shooting a little bit high or a little bit low, well, you may be able to adjust the hop up to account for that. But if it shoots left or right, well, you're just going to have to aim a little to one side or the other to compensate for the sighting. I don't know why, but Umarex loves to put that white writing on the slide. You can see it on both guns here. It's just one thing that they like to do. They like to have that on there, probably for legal reasons. It is a little bit intrusive, but what are you going to do? All right, keep in mind, we carry most of the Umarex products in both our Canada and US online stores over at replicairguns.ca and replicairguns.us, this gun included, so check out the links in the description to buy this gun online in Canada or the US. If you're interested in other products, air guns, BB guns, airsoft guns, pellet guns, blank guns, and other accessories, then check those stores out too. We carry a full line of products. You'll also find a written post with additional photos over at replicairguns.com. Again, I'll put a link in the description so you can find that easily. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Until next time, take care.